YouTube, what's happening? Welcome to another episode. Just wanted to drop this episode on here simply because I've been speaking to quite a few guys and girls looking to drop that final little bit of weight, but there's a bit of stagnation going on. They can't seem to get to that next level. They can't seem to get to the other side of the bridge from dropping all the body fat to then going into more of the fun stuff. Really then driving performance in the gym and driving performance maybe within a fitness event, right? Now, in this episode right here, we're gonna speak everything around how to drop that final 14 pounds, how you can actually do it as smoothly as possible and get to the other side of the bridge. So let's drop into it. Now, point number one, I'd actually get my calendar up for the exact month you are watching this in. Fingers crossed, you were at the start of the month. If not, well, you're gonna have to work in a 30-day block, right? And ultimately, what I'd now go and do is I'd get my calendar up and look at absolutely everything I had from a business standpoint, a networking standpoint, whether you have a career, if you've got weddings, parties, holidays, you name absolutely every social coming up as well, right? And literally factor that into a 30-day window. From there, you've literally just allowed yourself to become very aware of what events may cause this stage, this final stage, to be quite tricky to achieve. But this is the point of this 30-day block, is by getting a scope of what that actually looks like is actually going to give you a far better chance whilst doing this in advance versus trying to do it on the fly. Now, stage two. I'd then allocate those days you've literally just factored into that 30-day window, have those as either high calorie days or your minimum standard. And naturally, when it comes to you trying to get yourself into the best shape of your life and then going on towards better things, right? Reality is you should always be operating with 3 different standards across every single day, every single week, every single month. The reason why that is because something in life could happen, and it is going to happen, right? You are going to have some stress come your way. You're going to have something unexpected to come your way. And naturally, that can knock you off track of where you're currently at. But if you've got 3 different standards in play, you've got a minimum standard, which is like minimum level that you can do for that day. You've got a moderate, which is just an average thing you do every single day. And then you've got a maximum for when life's a little bit easier, when things are a little bit quieter within the days, within the weeks, within the months, you then operate at that level, right? And the importance of having that and an understanding of that is because you can then flick between the 3 of them at any given moment. And for you right now that's mapped out the socials, the business networking, the career demands, whatever that may be in the next 30 days, you can then actually now allocate those days to either be 1, a high calorie day, or 2, a minimum standard day. Meaning there's no excuse for those days to still go wrong because there's a minimum standard which still allows for progression. That is stage 2 now complete. Now into stage 3, that's done and dusted. Stage 1 and stage 2 is now crystal clear. You've got all your socials in the calendar. You've also got your minimum standards and also allocated higher calories on those specific days, right? I then look at the rest of the calendar and see where you can operate with maximum standards, right? And moderate standards. Because when you can do that, you can then tighten the screw on your overall physique, your training, your overall performance, right? So you get the very best out of that 30-day block. From there, those socials that you've just mapped in aren't actually going to touch you because you're going to be operating at such a standard outside of those socials. You're going to be transforming your body in the remainder of that block. And you're still going to be making small amounts of progress even when you've got those socials, the holidays, the weddings still coming up, because you can still operate at a minimum standard. And if you sat there and you're like, well, I've got X, Y, and Z coming up, I don't really think I can progress. That's an area that's I'd actually challenge and really say like, why can't you actually progress if you've got a holiday coming up? If it's really important to you to really drive that body into a much better place and drive your performance in a far better spot, then there's going to be a real driver behind it, and there shouldn't be actually a reason of why you can't progress even when you're on holiday, because you can still train, you can still eat well. That doesn't mean you can't enjoy yourself. You can still consume alcohol. You can still consume less quality food, right? But you can still progress in some form of way. It's just actually how you look at it and actually how you structure this all out. So stage 3, you've now got your moderate and maximum standards in place of where you can really drive forwards and really push hard. And then on the other side, stage 1, stage 2, you've also then got your minimum standards available because you've got those busier patches boxed off. Then we dive into stage 4. And what I'd be looking at here is your actual environment, whether it's your office, like I'm in here, your kitchen, lounge, bedroom, wherever you keep all the snacks, right? I'd make sure for a 30-day block, I'd have that environment absolutely nailed down to a T. Because you and I both know it's really easy to go and pick at something in the evening when you're stressed, when you're low on energy, and when you're just feeling a little bit off. And if you haven't got it in your way, it's not then going to get in the way. So therefore, it removes another option of something that can stop you. So I'd be going straight to the environment in stage 4, into your environments, and making sure they are squeaky clean. Ensure that all you've got in there is high quality foods, high quality drinks, and making sure they're aligned to how you want to feel and how you want to look. And if you're watching this and you've got children, no stress. I understand that you're going to need to keep snacks and sweets in the cupboards, right? What I'd now go and do is get Tupperware, label them Monday to Sunday, and actually weigh things out, because if they're weighed out and you're clear on what specific days they are, and you actually do want to go and have a pick of them, then guess what? You actually understand what's in that, so it removes the guesswork and literally gives you specific data to play from. So therefore, then again, it's not going to ruin your progress over this 30 to 40 day window of knocking that last 14 pounds off. We step into stage 5. And this comes down to a training aspect. Something I see so often is just random workouts, going into the gym and just trying to push as much weight as you can every single time. Now don't get me wrong, progressively overloading is a huge part of progression, right? But the reality is, there has to be structure. There has to be a specific process moving you from A to B, aka that last 14 pounds off. So something I would now going to do is just do random workouts and going into lift as much as I can all the time. I'd have a specific training plan built out in a 4 to 6 week block. From there, I'd nail that process, training 3 to 4 times a week. How that could look is 3 full bodies or 2 upper and 2 lower, right? For a 3 to 4 training day split. I'd have that, again, specifically built out for you and your lifestyle, right? What that entails, what moves are required, essentially what moves you may not be able to do if there's certain injuries or things like that. And ultimately have this laid out. And what you want to be ultimately doing is then again, repeating that 4 to 6 week block into another 4 to 6 week block. But all the adjustments you now make are either on hand position, tempos, sets, or reps. And the reason for that is because if you can keep it as similar as possible, there's going to be a constant feedback loop. You're going to be able to see as much data as humanly possible, which then gives you a better scope of how you're progressing on, where you may be struggling at, where you may be progressing better at, which gives you a better idea of where you need to strengthen in certain places and where other stronger areas are that you just need to keep on progressing. Meaning you're always going to be progressing forwards and you're not just doing random stuff, and you're getting constant feedback so you know exactly where you're playing from. Because if you just do random, you're then almost overwhelmed because you don't even know what you're looking for and you actually don't understand what you're trying to aim for. Stage 6, and the final point here. I'd actually look at some of your favorite foods that actually don't align with getting this goal over the line, that may actually slow your progress up, right? I absolutely love pizza. I'm not afraid to admit, I absolutely love a Mackie D's as well. So if I was trying to drop this next 14 pounds, something I'd actually look at and come to a realization of is you can't actually have all the food you want. You do have to tighten the screws. You do have to restrict yourself in certain zones, right? So something I'd personally do if I was going to go down this route, I'd now actually look at them and be like, do you know what? I'm not going to have McDonald's for the next 30 days. I'm not going to have the pizza for the next 30 days because they are very calorific. The food quality isn't there, right? So what I'd actually do is, remove certain things from my daily diet to ensure this process is easier to do. You want to make it as simple as possible. The stage 1 to 5 so far has simplified the game for yourself. Now, from a nutritional standpoint, you want to look at some of your favorite foods that may cause you to 1, crave more of it, 2, keep you hungry, or 3, cause your body not to respond in the way it needs to. I'd actually then tighten the screws and actually remove certain foods. And ultimately, you're going to be in a calorie deficit. So you need to be making use of your calories because naturally you are going to be hungrier. That meaning you want to get as much food volume in as possible. Now, if we constantly go for the pizzas and the McDonald's on the weekends, then guess what? It's going to be much harder for you to get the volume in, to stay fuller and not feel that hunger, shall we say. Because ultimately, trying to drop this body fat and trying to drop any body fat is just a controlled state of starvation. Okay, what foods now actually cause me to feel hungry? What foods do I absolutely love, but then just make me want to crave even more? I'd then actually go and remove that for a set period of time over the next 30 to 40 days to ensure this next 14 pounds comes off. And they are the 6 stages and they are the 6 stages that are going to allow you to drop 14 pounds in the next 30 to 40 days in the most simplest way and progress at the speed you want. Legends, hope you found this incredibly useful. If you have any questions around it, please drop it in the comments. And always, please press subscribe. More episodes are coming very soon.